Being a proactive problem solver. Don't wait for problems, prevent them from happening. That's the next habit. So what does it mean to be a proactive problem solver? Well, it means making a plan to keep a problem from even happening, right? Proactive means doing something before it happens, right? That's in direct contrast to reactive, which is reacting to something, doing something after something is already happening, right? So a lot of times we do a lot of reactive problem solving, which means I am going to have something bad happen and then I'm going to react. I'm going to immediately do something different in response. Proactive problem solving is taking it a step further, is figuring out what kinds of things might happen later on and making sure you are coming up with a solution that actually prevents that situation from ever keep coming up at all. All right? So why is this important? Well, it's because we waste a lot of time and energy reacting to problems we could have avoided, right? When we are being reactive problem solvers, all we're doing is waiting for something bad to happen and then responding to it. Now, we can't always control things, so there's certainly times when we're going to have to be reactive problem solvers. Something's going to come up, we deal with it, we move on. However, there are a lot of opportunities to be proactive, to really think things through in advance and come up with a plan to avoid things from even coming up. I think a great example of this is when people get in fights, right? Often they'll say, well, what could I do? That person was getting in my face, they're yelling at me, or maybe even they swung at me. You know, what could I do? So I react when that happens. I get in a fight. Now it's a bigger problem, but there's nothing I could have done. Well, if you're being a proactive problem solver, chances are you know that you have problems with that person. So if you are avoiding the situation entirely, maybe you end up getting a fight because you go to, I don't know, like your cousin's barbecue where a bunch of people you don't like are going to be there, right? If you just show up and then you hang out with the people that you don't get along with, that might set up a situation where the person you don't like ends up saying something and you get in a fight. Versus if you're being proactive and staying away from that situation, you don't even need to react. You're not even in a situation where someone might be saying something, doing something that makes you react to it. So it's really important to remember that. Like, we spend tons of our energy, most of our stress, most of our problems come from the things that we react to, the things that we wait to have happen and then we react to, when there are so many ways we could have thought ahead to avoid those problems, which not only saves us the headache of dealing with the problem, but it really lowers our stress and makes life just a little bit better for us in general. And when it comes to work, right, in a company or anything like that, the most successful companies are the ones that are extremely proactive, that come up with plans from the very beginning as opposed to reacting to what's happening around them. So if you want to be a proactive problem solver yourself, if you want to figure out ways to not have to react to everything that happens to you, if you want to avoid problems before they even start, or better yet, solve the situation before it even becomes a situation, here are some things you can do. Right? First of all, it's planning ahead. It's thinking through. If you know what's coming, right, you can make a plan around it. So if I know that I don't get along with somebody and that it's more likely for me to get in trouble or have problems with them when I run into them, then plan ahead. Think about where they're going to be and be somewhere else. That's just one example. Right? Another piece is figuring out what is really causing a problem. So we have a lot of problems in our lives, and often what we do is we react to the thing that happened most immediately before that problem. It's not always that is really causing the problem. So for example, a lot of times we'll get mad at a teacher, hey, we get called out, and then we yell at them. When really the problem was somebody else in the class was really irritating us and caused us to have some actions that got us in trouble in the first place. So figure out what is really causing the problem. Don't just blame whoever seems to be closest when you get in trouble or whatever just happened right before the problem occurred, because a lot of the times there's something deeper or something bigger happening that we could have solved in advance. The other part is taking ownership of your side of a problem. If you have problems, take ownership. Acknowledge it. Realize that you are probably doing something that is causing part of that problem. Right? Like, there might be someone you don't get along with. You might say that it's all them, but you know what? You keep saying things too, or you say bad things about that person to your friends, which is keeping the problem going. Maybe you didn't start it, but you're doing something. So take ownership of that. If you realize there's something you are doing that is making things a little bit worse, being proactive means now stop doing that thing. At the very least, you'll make the problem a little bit smaller going forward. And then finally, right, ask for help. If you don't know how to solve a problem, or if you know something's coming, if something bad is building up, then ask somebody for help. Ask an adult, ask a friend you trust, whoever, somebody that can actually help you create a plan and deal with the situation before it becomes a big deal. Again, if you don't ask for help, if you know some things are coming, right, you know something's bad, or you're having a lot of struggles day after day, and you're not asking anybody for help, you're not getting help for that, well then you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to have to reactively react to a problem, right? Versus if you ask for help, you might be able to plan ahead and be a little more proactive so that stops being a problem. These are all things you can do. Again, it takes a lot. This is not something that you're going to develop a habit of overnight, so we'll spend a lot of time practicing this in a lot of different ways, but here are some things you can do to get a start on it.